Hello and welcome to another review from Class 47 Peter. It's been a while since I last did a review, but I'm back. And in today's video we're going to be having a look at the Hornby Air Smooth Merchant Navy. First announced back in 2015, since its release it has been a very eagerly and anticipated awaited model, and now it's been released. There's 4 versions currently made available, but the one we're having a look at today is this one, which is number 21C3 Royal Mail in the Southern Malachite Green livery. And yes, I have pronounced that correctly. Right, so first of all we're going to unbox the model. So we'll just take off the box sleeve first of all, which is on quite firmly, as you can see. And as you can see, this is the now Hornby standard packaging, the plastic packaging. And so off comes the box sleeve. And so on the sleeve we have a nice photograph of the model that you get. And on the back we have brief history of the model, which you can pause and read if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. A drawing diagram of the model and the power classification of the real locomotive, which is A. So that's the box sleeve. Now we take out the plastic casing itself, which again is quite firm in this tray, this card tray. But we've now got it out of the tray, and so now we can look at the instruction manual that we get with the model once we've put the tray itself to one side. So the instruction manual is going to be pretty much the same thing we've seen before. So first of all, how to fit the brake rods and where they go, even though this model already has the brake rods fitted. But once we've got the instruction manual open, when I can get it open that is, there we go. So it also tells you about lubrication, and you get these little red dots that indicate where the lubrication oil goes, as you can see there. It also talks about the closed coupling connection and the assembly for that as well as fitting the accessories you get in the little detail bag, removing the body and fitting a DCC decoder and fitting sound if you want to. So it's all the usual stuff we've seen before, but I'll put that to one side to put in my folder later on. Next we remove the plastic sleeve. It comes off easily, like so. And this now means that we can have a look at the accessory bag in there, to have a look at all those little details that you get with the model. So, in this little bag of details we get an M coupling to go on the front of the loco, a couple of drain cocks for the cylinders, we get a few footsteps, 2 are for the locomotive and 1 is to go on the tender. We also get a couple of brake pipes, 1 for the locomotive and the other for the tender. And we also get a few vacuum pipes as well. Now we can take the model out of the box. So first of all we undo the clip, and then just lift the top of the packaging up, which has foam pads on the inside of it to protect the model, and just simply lift it out of the packaging. As you can see, the top of the packaging has decided to try and close back down on me. I should also point out as well that the model does seem to be a bit harder to get out of the tray, because there are also some foam pads on the inside and the tender appears to have got stuck to them. I should also point out as well, actually, while I'm at it, you should lift the loco and the tender out together at the same time because they are connected. But what I'm doing right now is wiggling the tender to free it from them foam pads. And that should free it. Yes, there we go, it's free. And so now we can lift the model out of the packaging. And so now just close the packaging back up to put that to one side, back in the box. And now that that's done, we can now have a look at the model in closer detail. Before I do look at the model in detail, we're going to talk about something, first of all, that I always do in these reviews, and that's the weight. This is a heavy model, so it'll have no problems with traction. It will be easily able to pull trains, which is what we expect with the model, because if there's no weight in the model, it can't pull anything, and that is why the weight is so important. Now we can talk about the detail. So first of all, we have sprung metal buffers. I don't have much care for them, but if you like the sprung buffers, then they'll keep you happy. And we also have the brake rods already fitted to the locomotive and the tender. We have a coupling hook on the buffer beam, as you can see, and on the right hand side of that we have a little hole for the brake pipe to go into. We also have the locomotive's running number printed on the front, 21C3, which is very crisply printed and very finely applied, and also we've got the accurate lettering and numbering there. We also have the electric headlamps on the front with separately added lamp irons on them as well. And what I like about the electric headlamps on the model is that they are painted on the inside, so it brings out the detail. We also have some more electric headlamps on the front of the loco as well. There's one of the smoke box door and two either side of it. But there's also some detail on the smoke box door as well, including the smoke box door hinges and a moulded lamp iron. It would have been nice if that lamp iron had been separately fitted, but that's just a small niggle thing, that is. But we do have separately fitted smoke box door darts though. And on the front of the smoke box door, just where the smoke box door darts are, we have the Southern Region Polo Mint cast iron plate with Southern written on it. Very nicely detailed, that is. Bogie, we have an M socket for the coupling to go into, should you wish to add it. And we've also got the guide irons as well in front of the wheels. We've also got some rivet detail on the bogie there as well, as you can see, which looks really nice and brings out the model and makes it more realistic. We've also got the correct portrayal of the bullied first brown wheels, just look at those. And the painted green as well, just like the model. And just look at all the outside moving parts, the valve gear, the link motion and the side rods. I just can't wait to see all that moving on the model like it does on the real thing. Now we also come onto this detail under the cab. Now I don't know what it is and what it's for, but there is some rivet detail on it and it does look nice. There is some nice detail on the pony truck as well, such as a spring, well a few springs actually as a matter of fact, and an axle box. And we also have some nice pipe work under the cab there as well, and it's painted as well and looks really nice. We have a very nice chimney there, as you can see. You could fit a smoke generator unit in it if you wanted, but this is not my thing and I don't tend to do that, so I'm not going to really bother, but it's there for you to do it if you wish to do so. And we also have the turned metal whistle there and the safety valves on the top. And we also have a cab roof vent with rivets on it on top of the cab roof as well. And I should point out as well that the cab roof vent on the roof actually opens. It is only subtle, but it does open, and that's a nice bit of detail to have. And on top of the air smooth casing, which is what this is, there's plenty of rivets on the top as well, which is very nice, and again it makes the model look more realistic. I should also talk about the styling of the air smooth casing as well, which is different to how the Merchant Navy's later looked with the air smooth casing, and on the West Countries and Battle of Britain is a different style of air smooth casing, because this was the earlier streamlined casing on the Merchant Navies, and it's very accurately portrayed on the model, as you can see. We've also got the separately fitted nameplates for the locomotive, which are the correct style of nameplates for the locomotive, which of course says Royal Mail on it. Very nicely detailed. The cab side numerals are very crisply printed as well, and again, accurate style lettering and numbering, and just look at the embossed on it as well. It looks really nice. We also have some glazing in the cab side windows, in one of the windows that is. Always nice feature to have that, the glazing. And as we'd expect, there's also some glazing in the front cab windows as well. We've also got separately fitted metal handrails down the ends of the cab, and separately fitted cab doors as well. And something we mustn't leave out is the cabin too. Just look at how superb that looks. All the gauges, the dials, the regulators, the levers and the pipework. It's all painted, and it looks just like the real thing with it painted. And Hornby have done a superb job with it. Now moving on to the tender, we've got steps already fitted on the tender, which look really nice. We've also got some separately fitted metal handrails on front of the tender as well. We also have a little bit of detail on the tender buffer beam as well, which is a few rivets. But there's plenty more detail on the front of the tender, such as a handle to transfer the water from the tender to the boiler, storage cabinets in the chute for what you can put your shovel into to get coal from the tender into the firebox. We also have some rivets on the tender back cab, as you can see. On the frames of the tender we've got rivets, springs and axle boxes as well. Very nice to see as always. We also have the Southern Sunshine lettering, crisply printed on the tender, again accurate style lettering, and just look at the embossed on that. It's just beautiful. Moving on top of the tender we have the air tanks there, and a separately fitted handrail of some sort in front of them. We also have a water filler cap there. It doesn't open, but it doesn't really need to. You'll be pleased to hear that this loco does have a removable code in the tender, as I am now demonstrating in this clip. It is quite nice and firm in there, but it is removable, as you shall see. Excuse my hands being in the way, but you know, it is really in firmly, so it does take some pulling to get it out. But it does soon come out. You can use a needle or a cocktail stick to get it out, which I did use to lever it up, but now I'm using my fingers to simply pull it out of the tender. Sometimes they are easier to remove, sometimes they're not. And there we go, it's now removed. And so the removable coal load means that we can put a real coal load in there, which I shall be doing. In fact, I have already done it since filming this video. I should also point out as well, the coal for the chute is actually fixed to the coal in the tender, which might explain why it's harder to remove. There's also quite a lot of detail on the back of the tender as well, including separately fitted handrails, a small separately fitted handrail in the middle of the tender, and loads of electric headlights with separately fitted lamp pines attached to them, as well as some detail attached to those, which, as you can see on the outside of the electric headlamps, I believe it might be some sort of wiring or some sort to make them work. And again, the electric headlights have the middle bits painted, which looks really nice. Again, we have a coupling hook on the buffer beam and a hole for the brake pipe to go into. And in the tender we have an M coupling fitted. And just like the buffers on the loco, the buffers on the tender are metal and they are sprung. Now the livery application for the model is spot on. They've got the shade of green correct, which is a beautiful shade of green. Stunning yellow lining, which simply highlights the model, as well as the green wheels that I've already mentioned. But also the paint is very nice and even, there's no errors in the paint, which is what we don't want to see. And then we spin the model around and it is pretty much exactly the same as on the other side, but there is one little difference on this side than on the other side of the model. and that's the pipework under the cab, which on this side is different to that on the other side, but that's the only difference on this side of the model. We now move on to the running performance of the model, which as you can see it ran smoothly around the layout, which is one to see. We don't expect stuttering movement or motors burning out or anything like that. It should run nice and smooth around the layout straight out of the box, as you can see here. We now come on to the loaded test run for the model, and round the layout we had it pulling the rake of teak coaches, which there are only 4 at this point, but there will be more in the future. So overall then, you know what, I'm not going to say anything in this video. I'm going to do the review itself, do all the talking. So overall, I'm going to rate the Hornby Air Smooth Merchant Navy a 10 out of 10. This has been Class 47 Peter reviewing the Hornby Air Smooth Merchant Navy, and I'll see you again soon for the next review, but until then, take care.